but why expose yourself to that risk where either you lose the battle and thus you lose the game, or you win the battle and thus you win the game? And if you don't think you're guaranteed the win, why take that chance? You may as well drop back, stop your opponent from expanding, and then just keep creeping and just keep building that advantage. Because I honestly feel that a Tier 3 Undead army has a significant advantage over a Tier 2 Orc army the longer the game goes. And that's exactly what HLA is trying to exploit as this game goes on. So he's just going to keep avoiding fighting and keep creeping. And he gets a really nice drop here, as you'll see in just a moment. So he did use that TP, and as we click on the Fiends again, they're now 2-1, and he'll be researching armor in a moment, which will give him 2-2. He's also now going to put down a Temple of the Damned for Banshees, and while he doesn't build them to right at the end of the game, again, the focus is really on mitigating the effects of units in the Orc army. So through Curse and Anti-Magic Shell, Fiends are going to be very difficult to kill. Frostworms are going to be very difficult to kill, and Battle's just starting here now, and again, just TP's out. He has no incentive to fight, but if you watch just how quickly he focuses down the grunt, that's the firepower of this Undead army. Through just a couple of Fiends, 4 Fiends, a Frostworm, and the Lich, he was able to take down a grunt in the 2 seconds it takes for the TP scroll to activate once the army had stopped moving. That's a lot of damage output. That's 400 DPS from the army. If you expand that to 10 seconds, they're going to nail 4 or 5 grunts in that time frame. So that's just the amount of damage this Undead army can put out. And you'll notice it's also highly mobile thanks to Unholy Aura and the fact it's flying. HLA are going to go cancel another expansion that he scouted out, again thanks to that shade. This is the fourth cancel he's about to make in the game, and it's only 16 minutes in, which just underscores just how important shades and scouting are. If there's anything you can take from this match, and from all the replays I've watched in the member replay section, and all the people in the Undead forum saying, well, what can I do to improve my game? What do I need to do? What did I do wrong when I lost and I posted my replay to get some criticism? People do not scout enough, especially against Orc. If you can stop that expansion, you're looking very good. Good Coil Nova to take out a unit there. I think he does lose this Fiend, but it's not a real problem. 1 for 1 doesn't really worry the Undead, and in any case, he's going Mass Air. The Fiend's really just a soft counter for those bats, just to slow down their damage output against his air, so that he can use Heal Scrolls and Coil to keep them alive. And you'll notice that when he does do that in the battles, the Orc army really just falls apart, because once all the bats are gone and and there's still air alive, the Orc army really can't do anything against it and just gets wiped out. Basically, as I was saying earlier, with Frostworms, now he's got 2 with I believe 2 armor upgrades, 5 armor, and he's got from his level 3 Lich, which will give +3 armor from Frost armor. 8 armor is about, according to the Blizzard site, is at plus 48% effective HP, which does put the Frostworms just on 2000 HP, which is 3.5 bats. And if you add in a Heal Scroll, which he does have, and a Death Coil, you are looking at 5 to 6 bats to kill a single Frostworm, which is quite incredible. Now the Orc army is just going to come in, so I'm going to discuss the micro. Your grouping should be basically with a Fiend, Frostworm, Destroyer army. Basically everything should be in Control Group 1, including heroes. So he pulls back to get the webs off from the Orc air units, so that they're separated from the entire Orc army, so they can't focus fire down properly. And then basically he shift right clicks all the softer DPS Orc units. The DPS Orc units are like the Wyvern first, then the Kodos. Those units do a lot of damage to your army. Wyvern because they've got a high DPS, and Kodos because they can eat your units. So he focuses them down first. They're also the units that he gets the most additional damage against. Now they've all gone down, and suddenly all the Orc player has left is Grunts and Raiders, which really are quite useless against Frostworms, Fiends, and Destroyers. And you'll just notice the Orc army is simply just getting absolutely massacred by this Undead force, and it's really getting overwhelmed. If you look at the food count, it's now 49 to Raptor HLA to 36 against Sokol. So Raptor HLA is really just dominating him here. He's now got 5 heroes. The Orc army has been obliterated, and it's even more is going to go down. As you can see, those Grunts really have no chance. The Death Knight has retreated to his base because of his low HP, and that Orc army has just been simply obliterated. The spell order for those sort of battles that you want to keep in mind is basically Frost armor on your Death Knight first, because he will be focused. Then Frost armor on your Frostworm to protect it from bats. You want to use your coil defensively only to keep those frost whims alive, because they're a very expensive unit, and honestly, while a coil will do 200 damage to the opposing army, the frost whim can do over 250 damage to a single unit before you even consider splash damage per attack against heavy armored units. So, you know, keep them alive. They will do so much more damage than a single offensive coil would do over the course of a 5-6 seconds, which is really 3 attacks. They just do a disgusting amount of damage, so keeping them alive is much more important than getting off a single offensive coil. Unless it's for a hero kill. You know, I'll forgive you if you do it for a hero kill. So just coming after 20 minutes now, and having won that decisive battle, HLA is going to take the opportunity to expand, and that's something you want to be able to do as Undead. If you really do stick it to your opponent and hurt him a lot, put up and expand. There's not a lot now that Sokol can do. He's really lost most of his army, but he's also now not going to be able to get bats up in enough numbers to basically take out that Air Force. And as you can see, the Air Force really did hammer it into his opponent's army. Despite not having the same hero levels before the battle, HLA now has higher hero levels, he's got more experience and a bigger army, and he's really taking control of the game, simply because the Orcs counter, the bats, were already countered well in advance of the Undead army actually being created. The Undead player was not taking into consideration, the Orc player was not taking into consideration the effect of Frost Armor, Coil, and the 2 armor upgrades on the Undead Air Army, and he paid the price for it, because the amount of bats required to counter those units is simply astronomical, and he couldn't get them up with the other army units he had. So he would have been maybe much better served maybe just massing Pure Wyvern, which again wouldn't have been too effective thanks to level 2 Frost Nova and Fiends, so he doesn't really have a lot of options. He's going to try now and basically stall HLA from pushing his base by trying to pick off his acolytes, but it's really a case of too little too late. HLA did a lot of banking earlier in the game at 50 food, and did bank about 1200 gold, so even losing his acolytes now isn't really a game-changing thing at all, and it's just really delaying the inevitable. The Lich teleports back to defend against it, and all's well that ends well. So, HLA's advantages now really are economy. He's about to have 2 gold mines to 1, which is, as an end player tell you, it's a game-changing thing right there. He does have 5/5 heroes, which gives him a massive hero level advantage, and 5/5 undead heroes are extremely powerful. Perhaps not as powerful as 5/5 human heroes, but definitely competitive and definitely more powerful than 4/4 orc heroes. And any advantage is huge, so he's going to come in now, again, just take out this expansion that he again scouted, and once that expansion goes down, he's going to push his opponent's base, and that's really going to tie up the game here. So the things that you've seen in this replay were